Hello, so thanks for hopping on and sharing some background on the company. Let's just start with walking me through how the business began, like in the early days. I'd love to hear a little bit of a background story on that to kick things off.
Um, sure. I founded a company with my colleagues now and friends and partners, whatever, since we have been working together more than 20 years now. Prior to founding our own company, we were working together in another tech company that was going through some changes. We were there for around 8 years. We were all there, are four of us, three guys and one girl. We were in really high positions in the company at that point. The company was going through some challenges and changes that at that point we didn't like and we didn't agree. And at that point, uh, market outsourcing, especially in Europe, was a bit closed, and you had like several companies doing their own things, but you didn't have any insights like into projects or technologies or opportunities that they've been working on and stuff like that. So things were pretty different back then. So in 2013, in the summer, we decided to leave the company and start our own. So basically, it was just four of us. We found a new project to work on. I started as a CEO of the company. One of my partners was CFO, the other was CTO, and the fourth was a CDO, Chief Delivery Officer. And we all started as basically developers. We did everything we needed to do, and uh, 11 years later, we have 220 plus engineers working from us, mostly from Europe, but we are starting to expand globally now. So we have people working for us in US, people from Spain, Germany, Austria, and stuff like that. So we are starting to become more of a global brand and position the company as a global consulting company.
Pretty awesome. You have the office in Chicago and then remote across Europe, or do you have a few different locations as well?
Yeah. So company is registered in Nevada, in Las Vegas. So we have an office there. That's like mostly operational and administrative stuff. We have business development center in Chicago, and we have physical also engineering hubs in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Sarajevo and Banja Luka. But basically, majority of the company is remote, so I would say everybody is working remotely. But due to some laws and the administrative and operational stuff, we still have to have physical offices, but majority of the company is working remotely. Yeah.
Okay. What has it been like managing a team of 200 plus people, not just remotely, but like globally? I'm sure it's kind of challenging with time zones and maintaining a good culture. What has that process been like for you guys?
So basically, it wasn't that big of a deal. We went to remote work in 2020 at the beginning, same as everyone when COVID hit. And since we are a consulting company and we've always been working remotely with our clients, because our clients are around the world, in the US, we have clients in European Union, we had clients in North Africa, we have clients in GCC region, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and we are expanding there as well. So for us, remote was always like a kind of a way of work in terms of working with client and offering our services. The change that came in with the remote is like, okay, how we internally work remotely. And this is something that we have been like cautious about at the beginning of 2020, but we didn't see any issues in productivity. We didn't see any complaints from our clients and stuff like that. And we just kept doing it. And basically, our strategy is to go towards a way being the remote first company. We're kind of in a hybrid way, but we don't have any mandatory days for people to come into the office. People can come if they want, whenever they want, but they don't have to. So company is not mandating anything. And so far, it's been good. I think people love when you give them, some space and some privacy as well, and they really appreciate that and honor, and they're doing great job, to have that commodity, and to be able still to work that way. So far so good.
Awesome. What are, like, obviously you're in a very highly competitive industry. I'm curious what you view your company's specialty or couple specialties as, because obviously you do a lot as I'm looking through your case studies and stuff, but what are one or two of those things that you guys do really well, better than anyone?
Uh, well, one of the things is that I like to say when we are pitching our company to our clients. One thing is that we really have an in-depth business expertise and domain knowledge in industries that we are offering our services. For example, in fintech, health and fitness, and healthcare, IoT, customer engagement, mobility and people, vehicle and access and stuff like that. So these are the businesses that we just not offer our technical expertise, but our business expertise, because we had a lot of clients in those industries that we worked for years, and we are still working with some of those clients, and we really build up that knowledge. The second important thing that differentiates us from, let's say, typical software consulting company is that we also, beyond doing the software development, we have our own products team who are capable doing market research and product discovery for companies, that want to build something new but don't know how. We have our own internal UX and UI design team who are designing solutions for our clients. Then we are talking about implementing the software, testing it and delivering to the client as well. But also we have a really niche expertise in the embedded systems, which means that we have our internal team that focuses on hardware design and firmware development, which means that we are able to offer a full palette of services. For example, for a company that wants to build a physical product and the software that accompanies it. For example, if someone wants to build, let's say, like a smart in-home device, in the IoT sphere, basically we can help design the product itself, and help customer, produce it somewhere else, then build a software on the hardware and up all the applications that are accompanying that, and helping, software to interact with the hardware and allowing users, to control it. So this is something that we really build our expertise around, and this is something that maybe differentiates us a little bit than a typical consulting company that just does the software.
Okay, nice. And I've heard you speak about yourself so far just like as a consulting company, and I'm curious when businesses come to you with like development needs and you're building out a solution, how important is that consulting piece? Because you mentioned like domain expertise. Like a lot of people that will come to build any sort of solution just have not found product market fit, haven't done testing. They're not sure if it's going to work or how much resources they should pour into it. So is that kind of how you guys differentiate, is like setting your clients up for success before you even develop products.
Exactly, exactly. And we have of course, we have customers, who know what they want. They have, the product vision. They have the roadmap. They know what to do. But we have a lot of clients, maybe that they are, for example, in banking sector is like a fintech industry is really a good example. If we are talking about, for example, traditional banks, and we know that all the traditional banks have their core banking systems on some legacy technology, like some IBM old, 30 years old solutions, and everybody's afraid of changing anything in that system, but they want to build like new attractive digital products and services and offer new services to the customers, but how they don't know how to do it on top of the legacy technology. And this is the place where we come into the picture. We help them, understand how this is being done in general, how to mitigate some of the risks, how not to touch the core system, but build some middleware solutions on top of it, which will then provide some modern ways of communication that can be consumed by mobile applications, digital wallets, and stuff like that. So, and we see that our clients are really happy when they see that we have that confidence and the knowledge, and that will not just like build something for them based on their requirements, but basically guide them through this process if they don't have internal knowledge for it.
Okay, nice. I'm obviously we're really focused on like growth and learning about how founders are like using interesting tactics to grow their company. So I'm curious in the past year, like what has been successful for you guys in landing new clients, new partnerships, expanding existing contracts? Like what are you guys focused on for growth?
Yeah. So I would say that we've been through three phases of growing the company, but continuously so far. So we've been in business more than 10 years. Now we have been growing organically, and it was really something that we are really proud of. We had year to year, let's say 20% growth. And I would say prior to 2020, basically we were mostly focused on hiring the right talent and finding the right people, because business was coming in. We had so many requests from clients through recommendations, or some of our clients that we work with moved to other companies and they want to continue working with us in the next company as well. So basically we didn't have any need to do like any kind of sales. Then when COVID hit, things a little bit changed, and we figured out, okay, we need to start doing official sales. So this is when we established our own business development sales team. We have our sales representative. This is the moment when we decided to expand to US market and open office over there, because still around 60% of our business comes from the US. I would say like 35% from the EU and like 5% from GCC region. So this is time in our company when we decided, okay, this is something that we need to do. Some serious thought about growth and how we're gonna do sales, and this is what we have been doing so far. And I think now we are at the point of like figuring out, okay, are we going to keep growing this way forever, or we are going to maybe look for some other ways of growing business unorganically through acquisitions or investments or something like that. But we are still we have that on the table, but we still haven't decided to do yet.
Okay. So you're kind of living every founder's dream with the organic growth right now then.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
good.
yeah. But we did have some plans that COVID, in terms of growth, that COVID kind of pushed back. So we are not where we wanted to be. So that's why we are thinking about maybe exploring some other ways of, making those targets that we initially set up. But we are still trying to find a really good way, because we have four founders and we own the company equally. So, getting the investment, and having another partners getting into the picture means there is less left for the four of us. It's not just like you have a one founder and you own 100% company, then you can give away half of the company, to someone else or something like that, and still keep the majority of it, or all the different ways how this works. So basically, we are being careful about it and trying to find what would be the right fit for us.
Okay. And how does growth kind of change? Like once you cross 100 to 150 employees and you have your sales team built out, marketing team, engineering team, all these different departments, how has your mindset shifted around growth? Because like early on, you're doing everything yourself, and over the past 5 years, I'm sure that's completely changed. So now when you're kind of building campaigns and trying to go to market with a specific offer, what does that process look like? Number one, how are you thinking about that? And then number two, how do you actually execute it? Because it might not be yourself doing all those pieces, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we do have we built a structure under the founders of our directors and VPs that are basically managing different departments, from engineering, from client delivery, from business development, marketing, and then we have operations team that manages business operations like finance, accounting, and everything else. So we have those departments below us. We are now mostly, we still work hands-on, I would say, but not heavily as before, that we have to do everything. And now we are mostly in like a mentoring mode, where we are helping our department managers, to execute our vision and execute the company strategy that we set up for that year.
Okay, nice. A lot of people development then and process development.
Yeah.
Um, you were saying like COVID kind of put a stunt in growth trajectory a little bit. Where did you guys want to be, or where did you expect to be now compared to where you were at?
So we are at 220 people. Initially, before, I think in 2019, we were thinking about being at 500 at the end of 2025, which was really high target, and a lot of happened after that. First COVID happened, then the market bounced back a little bit. Then we had another wave of the tech crisis that happened in last couple of years, that also, pushed back all the companies a little bit in those things that they planned initially. So we are now like scaling down the expectations in terms of the market challenges, and with everything else that's happening in the US now. We won't go into the politics part, but that is affecting the businesses as well. The thing is, we are now like trying to figure out, okay, how we're gonna achieve like 300 people or 350 people in terms of scaling. Because basically we are talking about the size of the company, because somehow in consulting company translates into revenue and stuff like that. Basically, depending how many engineers we have is based on the revenue we are generating and based on the how many projects and clients we can handle at one point.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes it easier to measure almost, right? Because if you're adding engineers or adding team members, it's just easier to think about sometimes than the pricing variability on contracts and everything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We basically do all the planning based on the, of course,
Yeah.
financial planning, but somehow in our internal conversation, it basically goes back to how big is the company and how many people we have in the delivery teams.
Okay, nice. For anyone that's listening, obviously, if they're building a company, let's say they're between 50 to 100 employees or kind of a little bit smaller than where you're at, what would be the one piece of advice that you would give them for this year? Because there's a lot of changes happening with, artificial intelligence, the new technology that's available. What would you be using if you were at that stage to scale your company and grow?
So definitely, I remember that we had to change the company completely after every important milestone at the company. For us, it was like the 50, 70, 100, then 150, and then 200 people. I think it's if you're around 50 people, this is and growing up to 100. This is something that where you have to have your own HR team, because you cannot manage your people anymore just on your own, because it's becoming too much. Definitely introducing at least basic processes and the procedures in the company, how company operates, how people are getting their vacation, tracking days off and stuff like that. How do you support people from the HR perspective as well? And then, of course, focusing on growth and the building is your first sales team, let's say. As you pass 100, I would say then you go more into more serious financial planning, doing some strategic planning, for example, using some of the methodologies, OKR or something like that, do the planning in advance for every year, do the quarterly reviews. Are you hitting your targets, or do you need to make some adjustments to the strategy, to the plans, the activities that you are working inside the company beyond the actual software development work, but what you do with the company inside? So this is something that we have been doing for the last 2 years, and we see that this is something that we really benefited from. People are really I would say resistant to change, especially people who are in the company from the beginning. As the company grows, company needs to change, and you need to introduce some processes and procedures. You're not just a small, team that goes to a bar every time after work or something like that. And sometimes it's hard for people to see that the changes that you're introducing are really needed. And people have to say or are we a startup or are we a corporation? Just because you're introducing some basic procedure and structure in the company, so company can operate without glitches and be healthy, and that our clients are supported properly and the people are supported properly. You need to have some kind of structure, and you need to plan in advance. And this is something that you have to get a buy-in from the people. This is good for the company, that is good for them, and that is good for the clients and for everyone.
Okay, nice. I know we're kind of running on a couple minutes left here, but the last question I have is like, in terms of problems that you're facing right now in the next like quarter, what are those problems and what are you kind of doing to try to solve them?
I think the biggest challenge is like what I wish I was aware earlier, but this is something like the how long the sales cycle is in our business. This is something because previously, as I mentioned, we had a lot of clients, just coming in, and we couldn't hire, enough people, to support that clients, and that was our main focus. And now, when you are seeing it from a sales perspective, and how much time does it take to close the deal, that it's not that fast, that it's like 6 months or 12 month cycle, unless you come to someone that needs immediate help with something, or but it's really hard to stumble upon those people and those companies, especially now when everyone is doing sales and through LinkedIn, and everybody is selling everything, everything that we are trying to do and sell. I get those
Yeah.
people are selling that to me as well. So it's a really competitive market. There's a lot of noise, and it's really hard to to differentiate self, and to be unique and loud enough, so that people can recognize you and say, okay, I want to work with these guys because they seem capable, they know what they do, they're cool, they're excellent in the work they do. So yeah, that's it. I would say the biggest challenge, at least what I see for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.